What's up, everybody? It's TXRO. Thanks for tuning into the course. I'm glad everybody is here. It's great that everybody is showing interest in this. I think business ownership is a great thing. Not only just for the financial benefits, but also being able to provide value and give back to the community and give back to the world and to society and the customer. Right? Business is all about solving a problem. The customer has a problem. The business has a solution, and bridging that gap is what business is all about. So I think it's a great thing in general, and that's what we're going to be going over in this course. So before we get into it, I really want to talk about, the main thing about this is going to be turning our interest in our hobbies into side hustles and businesses for the new year. So I want to talk about why that's important and how we can actually do that. Turning your hobbies into businesses is going to allow you guys to combine your passion with work. It's going to keep you motivated, and it's going to give you a unique selling point and kind of an advantage in the market because you're already in the lane. You're already dealing with something you're passionate about. You're already in the lane that you're familiar with, right? So not only will it give you an advantage in that way, it's taking that passion, turning it into work, and, of course, the financial gain that can come behind that as well. But another thing we want to look at is increases productivity, right? The less it feels like work, hopefully the more we'll be able to do it. So that's the thing. If we're doing something we can enjoy, hopefully it'll not feel like work, right? And when it does feel like work, that's when we try to put things in place and try to create those balance so we can stay productive and still continue to have that passion and love for the thing that it is that we're doing. Not only that, but it fosters skill development. So if it's something you're already doing, if it's something you're already good at, the more you do it and the more you do it as business and the more you put emphasis on quality control and delivering the best product to the customer, the better you're going to get at it over time. And again, when I'm saying business, this is anything, because the concept of business is solving a problem for the consumer. So business is anything that can be bought, sold, anything that can be consumed, right? So even music. Think of this, guys. If you're a musician, if you're an artist, right? Art is consumed, art is interpreted, right? And that does something for the listener. It does something for the viewer. People might turn on a track because they want to escape after a hard day, or they might want to relate to some type of, the artist, or feel some type of mood. So that is solving a problem. The artist is helping the listener solve the problem. Oh, I'm trying to get into a mood. I'm trying to get into a party mood. We trying to turn up, right? So that's what it's all about is, and then eventually the artist will say, okay, as the consumer is trying to solve these problems, how can I help them with this? How can I provide music that's more lit? How can I provide music that's going to get them in a better mood? How can I provide an album or a project that's going to, help them solve whatever it is that they want, right? Give them what they're waiting for. So that's very important in business as well, is to understand that that's all business is about. And the more we can take our hobbies and interests and help solve those problems that people have, the more it'll be like just the stars aligning. It's just happening, without us forcing anything, really. So overall, it's about finding what fulfills you, your purpose, and then incorporating all of that into your entrepreneurial journey, right? Another thing I want to touch on is, sometimes it's not always what you directly enjoy that's going to be the thing that makes you money. If you are a musician, right, it may not be just making music and selling music or just doing shows or just doing performances that makes you a successful entrepreneur. It could be, maybe it's writing for another artist or selling selling lyrics and stuff like that to another artist. Maybe that's what's really fueling and producing income for you to be able to go and be a musician, right? So there is a level of flexibility that has to come between this stuff, but just because, that may be the route that you have to start at doesn't mean you have to finish it there, right? There's a lot of musicians who started as ghostwriters and then they ended up being very successful and very famous musicians because that was just a pathway, right? You need money to fuel your own music career. So if they were able to make money from their art, their current talent of being able to write songs and being able to make hits, they just monetized that first before they were able to monetize what they really wanted to monetize. So remember that's a huge thing, man. Be flexible. Don't be stubborn in where you want the money to come from, because we just want the money to come in initially, right? We just want the money to come in initially. And we want it to be from doing the things that we love to do and doing things that we're already good at. So that leads us into the next thing I'm going to talk about is how do we actually find out what we're good at, right? So we're going to be using a technique called SWOT analysis, which is pretty much going to help us figure out, what our strengths are, what we're good at, what our weaknesses are, where we need to improve. And then that's going to help us realize what opportunities we could take advantage of with those strengths and with those weaknesses. And then what challenges may arise from those weaknesses so that we can understand how we can really approach this, right? So figuring out what you're good at and knowing what you're good at is only, a quarter of what's necessary, right? It's only half, right? It's only half. You also got to know what you're bad at as well, right? So this is going to take some self-reflection. It's going to take some being real. It's going to take some honesty. I mean, because once you figure out your strengths, you got to know the weaknesses as well, because knowing what we're good at is only half. Again, the only way we find success is by overcoming those challenges. The rewards doesn't come from what we're doing right and the things, you know what I mean? The reward comes from overcoming those challenges. Again, whether it's businesses, whether it's art, there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of musicians, there's a lot of very talented people who have the talent, but it's the challenges that they couldn't overcome that allowed them to, that put them in a situation where that talent was left in the shadows, or they couldn't monetize that talent, or that talent didn't get out to the masses, right? It's the other challenges they have to overcome. Producing the art is not the issue, right? So the things we're good at, it's important to know what those things are so we can use them. But the real value and the real monetization is going to come from overcoming those challenges and the things that we're bad at and getting better at the things that we're bad at, right? So that's very important. So getting into the SWOT analysis, again, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So strengths are going to be the things that we're good at. These are going to be, pretty much our bread and butter. I like to reverse engineer it again and think, the strengths, this is what's going to be, making us the money. But the weaknesses and overcoming those weaknesses and overcoming those threats is what's going to, that's where the money is coming from. The strengths and stuff, we gotta be good at something to get anywhere, right? So that's only half of the equation. So internal factors that give us an advantage over others. What are we good at that other people might not be good at, right? You got to look at it just plain and simple. If you can run faster than bro, you're better at running than him. That may be something that you may be able to capitalize from, right? Positive attributes, skills, resources, or capabilities. Again, what attributes do you have that others may not have? What skills do you have that others may not have? What resources do you have available to you that others may not have? And what capabilities do you have that others may not have, right? These are all things we got to consider. Just because somebody else may possess these skills and capabilities, again, it's only half of the pie, right? So when we look at things and we say, oh, that's saturated, that's only half of the pie. Just because, you may be an engineer, or you may have a psychology degree and the other person may have a psychology degree. If you don't have the other half of that equation, it doesn't mean that just because both of you guys have that it's equal competition, right? You may possess other skills and other experiences that still gives you a super, super, super leg up against the other person that also has a degree in psychology, right? Because of all of those other things that you have, right? So it's not just black and white. It's not just, oh, I have a strength, so we're going to be successful. Or I have an idea, or there's a bunch of other people trying to do this, so it's going to be difficult, right? It's only half of the equation, right? So think about the things that, apply to you that may not apply to other people. Just because they do apply to other people doesn't mean you're not going to be successful because of these strengths, right? And then think about your weaknesses. Think about things that hinder performance. Think about things you may not be good at, right? Think about things that may be difficult. I don't want to make this about me, but I'm going to use me as an example. I understood that mentally I struggle with a lot of things mentally. Executive function being the biggest thing, right? Staying on task, starting task, staying motivated. Hyperfixation is a big thing. Either I'm hyperfixated or I'm not, my attention is not there at all. Right? So things like that, time management, organization. I understood all my weaknesses, and that's why I put the emphasis on tools, right? And structure and planning and stuff like that so that I can really stay in place because I understand my weakness. So again, the success comes from understanding those weaknesses and understanding those threats, because then you'll have a full strategy to combat it, right? So again, business is strategic. You can only come up with a strategy if you know the enemy. You can only come up with the strategy if you know the enemy, right? We're not going to bring gasoline to put out a fire. We know the enemy is a fire, so we know we have to bring water. That's what brings us to success, is knowing our enemy, knowing what we're up against. We got to understand what we're up against if we ever want to have a chance at being able to overcome it. So the weakness is very important. So when you're doing this SWOT analysis, write down the things you're good at. Think about the things you struggle with, bro. Think about all the things you struggle with, right? For me, was that, the mental health, the executive function things. We have to, when we're starting a business and when we're doing this SWOT analysis, we got to think about the things, that may hinder our performance or may hinder our success, right? And the areas that need improvement or potential vulnerabilities. Those are kind of the same thing. Of course, what areas can I improve in? Oh, I can be, more organized. I can be more social. I can be more compassionate, whatever it may be. These are all things. Doing this analysis of ourselves is a very important step before we can get into, the actual business side of things. But this is a huge step, right? And then when we do get into the business side of things, we run the same SWOT analysis so we can see holes and poke holes in our business plan, in our business ideas, right? So it's the same thing. Once we do have our business plan, let's say your interests are movies, right? And you want to be a movie director and you want to sell movies. Well, that's great. You may have strengths in all of those categories, but one of the weaknesses and one of the things that may hold us back from that is the financial resources, not having the funding to go and shoot a $25 million budget movie, right? So then we would know what we're up against. So maybe we have to go for something that's a little bit lower financed. Maybe we can go get some phones from Walmart so we can record this, and then we can upload it on Tubi instead of having it in theaters, right? So knowing the enemy and knowing the limitations will help us understand what we're up against. So these strengths and these weaknesses checks, man, very important for yourself and the business. Then look at the opportunities. What opportunities arise from these strengths and these weaknesses? Again, using the example, if you're a good painter, if you're somebody that's good at arts and crafts, if you're somebody that's good at do it your DIY, right? Projects around the house and stuff like that. What opportunities can arise from those strengths? Those are all strengths. Those are all things you're good at. What opportunities come with those? That's when we'll start to say, okay, I am a good painter, or I am good with projects around the house. Maybe I could start repurposing furniture. Maybe I could go get a dresser and sand it down and then paint back over it and make it look brand new, right? Maybe I could get something from the thrift shop and do some work like that and make it look brand new because I'm good at painting and I'm good at repurposing things, or I'm good at projects around the house, right? So you got to look at things like that. What opportunities are around for us now to play off of these strengths? And then when you're able to make those connections, again, go back to those weaknesses and consider the threats that we're going to get into in a second. So what external factors, are there for you to take advantage of? Right? What external factors are there for you to exploit? Let's say it's a trend, right? Trends are huge. We're on social media all day. We see all these different type of trends, right? From 2019 to currently, what do we see? All Hellcats, all Scats, Trackhawks, all that. So we'll see trends and stuff like that. These may lead to opportunities. Let's say you're a car guy, right? Let's say you're a car guy. You like modifying your car. You like going to meets and all of that. Let's say you got into something like, selling something for the cars, or selling the mobilizers for the Scats and the Hellcats and all of this. Like, this is finding opportunity within the trends that we're seeing arising around us, right? We're seeing these things. We know what's popular. People know what's popping. That's even the thing. That's even the strength, is being able to identify what is in. There's a lot of fashion people. I know people that's in the fashion lane. They're always ahead of their curve, right? They're always ahead of the rest of the fashion trends, right? They in the future before everybody else is there. So even things like that is being able to identify trends and what you can take advantage of, and then understanding, that's valuable in itself, is understanding what's going on and what's current. That's something that you can monetize. So doing this type of analysis is going to help you identify those things, right? So other external factors, trends, favorable situations, stuff that's just in your favor. Let's say something happened like when the Barbie movie came around. Let's say you was a little small Etsy shop and you sold a whole bunch of pink arts and crafts, and you sold everything you had was like cute and pink and all of that. The Barbie movie came around, everybody had all pink everything, right? That's an opportunity, and that's a crowd, and that's a trend that you can spot and understand that's a place you can capitalize, right? You're the person that got all the pink stuff. There's something that's going on that's making everybody want all pink everything. Boom, problem solution. Meet in the middle. Capitalize, right? So emerging markets, technological advancements, changing consumer trends, that all ties into the same kind of watching the trends thing that we're talking about. But this is, anything that's new, something that new that's popping up, new technology that's popping up. Those are all opportunities to take advantage of things, right? I talk about AI a lot and artificial intelligence. That's a technological advancement that we can use to, fast forward ourselves and put ourselves in crazy positions. I'm gonna get into that, in the future, and touch on that more. But again, just being able to identify where opportunity lies, right? And then when you're able to identify those opportunities, just like when you're able to identify your strengths, we gotta look at the threats. What are things that can happen that may be threats to those opportunities, right? What external factors can change that could pose a risk or a challenge to those opportunities, right? So that's when we think about the things that companies had to face during COVID. Companies didn't really think about, what happens if there's a virus that shuts down the entire world, right? Our entire business model stops, right? So things like that is a threat. We didn't know it at the time. We didn't know it in the past, and it's a black swan event, meaning something that's like very, 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 very unexpected, unlikely to happen. Nobody could have saw it coming, right? But those are things that could have been considered at the creation of these businesses. There's a virus that could come, and if for whatever reason nobody could ever get to our business and the world never ceases to operate, this could be a threat to us, right? So that's identifying those threats. What factors may negatively impact the organization or the project or things that against you, right? When you're doing this SWOT analysis for yourself, what are factors that may work against some of the things that you're good at or work against some of the things that you're trying to do? So, competition, intense competition. There's people who are already trying to do the things you're trying to do. And the emphasis here is intense competition. Intense competition. Remember I said just because those other people have the same skills as you or they see the same opportunity as you doesn't mean they're going to execute in a way where they're actually competition, right? So intense competition could be a threat to what you got trying to go on, what you're trying to have go on, right? Economic downturns. If I'm trying to go and sell $500 products and we're in a recession and everybody's struggling, that could be a threat, right? If something in my industry changes from regulatory changes or something, new laws come into play or new regulations come up, that could change business, right? So just being able to identify these things and again, being aware of what the enemy is and what may be against us so that we can understand how to combat it. So this SWOT analysis is very important. Do it for you and do it for your business ideas when you do come up with something. So in this chapter, we're going to be wrapping up the self-discovery part and moving on into the market research part. But just the last little bit on the self-discovery part, I do want to touch on, assessing those skills once you figure out what it is that you enjoy, what it is that your interests and your passions are. Once you've identified what those things are, you got to break those down into skills. What skills are associated with those things, right? So going back to the around the house project, if you like doing DIY projects, let's say you repurpose furniture. You're somebody who goes to the thrift. You can find some old furniture or family members can gift you some old furniture and you can repurpose it, redo it, make it look beautiful, right? If that's something you like doing, if that's a hobby you already like, if that's, maybe falls under arts and crafts for you, then what skills are associated with those, right? Maybe a little bit of woodworking, being able to sand that stuff down. Maybe a little bit of painting, being able to, or woodworking, being able to rebuild the furniture or repair the furniture. Or maybe painting, being able to sand things down, prime things, paint over it, make it look good, stain and dye, right? Those are things that are associated with it. And then what other things, opportunities are attached to that as well. Maybe you have a truck, or maybe you're able to transport the furniture from whatever store you got it back to wherever you're working on it at. So even, the fact that you may have a pickup truck where you can load a dresser in the back and take it back to the crib. Even that may be something or an area for you to be able to assess and say, okay, I do have that skill too. Even being able to unload and load, paint, woodwork to repair. Think of all of the skills that are attached to those things that you like. So again, if it's something like being a, PC gaming, right? The interest may be PC gaming, the hobby may be gaming, but what skills are attached to it? You got to be proficient with mouse and keyboard. You got to be able to understand how to navigate Windows. You got to understand how to install games, right? So there's a level of technological proficiency behind something as little, if you think about it, as being able to enjoy video games and liking video games, right? People who are into fashion is the interest, fashion is the passion, but what skills are encompassed in that, right? Things like being ahead of the curve, right? Being ahead of the time, being able to be ahead of trends before they become trends, having an eye for that style, being able to put it on, right? Being able to put stuff together, right? That is a skill in itself. Being able to color match, being able to color block, being able to express certain things through that clothing, right? That is artistic. So these are all skills behind that interest. Being on social media, right? If you like being on social media, you like consuming the blogs, you like keeping up with celebrities, what comes behind that, right? Some level of organization, some level of staying in tune, some level of research, right? That comes behind staying on top of these things and being in the know, right? So every interest we have, every passion we have, all of these things, there are skills, and some of these skills are valuable. Those are the ones we're trying to find and marketable inside of the things that we already enjoy. So that's what's going to lead us into chapter 3 as far as market research, because the foundation of understanding these are the things we enjoy, these are the things we're passionate about, and then these are the skills and expertise we possess from those interests and passion is what's going to lead us into, one, figuring out if those things are marketable and there's a demand for those skills, and then 3, knowing who to get it to, who to sell it to, right? Doing the research to understand who would this skill be valuable to and where are they at and who's our competitor, right? So before we get into chapter 3, I just want to wrap up, again, once you're able to identify the skills that come behind those passions, now you're going to match those skills to the market demand or whatever. So, video games, you may be good at call outs, right? You may be giving hella good call outs on Counter-Strike, right? And that's something you're really good at, but there may not be any market demand in the real world for you to be, sell call outs to people. So what is something else that you may be good at, right? What other skill is attached to that hobby that may have more demand in the marketplace, right? Something like, if you are a team player, if you are a leader, if you are the captain of your squad, even in a video game like CS, now that is a skill that has more demand in the marketplace and that can be transferred and marketed. Whether you're selling your services and helping entrepreneurs build team leaders in their group, or you're selling your own skills to somebody like a company so you can get a position in a job maybe, or create your own opportunities using those skills, again, that come from your interest of video games. You're still able to take something constructive and valuable away from it, like the skill of communication, team building, leadership skills, stuff like that, right? So again, people, one of the biggest things we struggle with is not knowing what we're good at. Everybody thinks they're just normal. Everybody thinks they're just regular. But there's skills, bro. There's valuable skills behind all of these interests and passions that we have. So once we figure out the interests and passions, we then assess what skills are behind those interests and passions and what is our level of expertise, right? You may not be an expert. You may just be an intermediate level. But your intermediate level still offers value to somebody who's beginning, right? You don't got to be at the top of the mountain to teach somebody at the bottom of the mountain how to climb to the middle, right? So think about that. You don't have to be at the top of the mountain to be able to give somebody instructions who's at the bottom to get to the middle where you're at, right? So once you assess those skills, you can assess your level of expertise, and that'll help you go into your market research, right? If you know you're an intermediate guy in your industry, then you're going to be looking to sell to those beginners because you have value to offer to them. You're not going to be looking to sell to people who are advanced and know more than you and are beyond your level, they're not gonna buy it. They're not gonna want it, right? It's not gonna be useful to them. Right. So identify them interests and passions, assess the skills and the expertise, and then match those skills to the market demand. Find whichever one of those skills is going to be able to make you money, whichever one of those skills provides enough value and has demand for it, right? And then that's going to lead you into chapter 3. But once you do this self-discovery and understanding what you're good at, the rest of it makes business easier. The hardest part is the self-discovery part, looking at what we're good at, our circumstances, and our opportunities. So going into chapter 3, man, market research is super, super, super important. This is when the business plan starts getting paved out. This is when you start doing research, understanding who is the crowd that you're going to sell to, right? That's the niche. The niche is who is the crowd that you're targeting? Who is the crowd that you're going to sell to, right? Every industry, every market has a niche, right? Everybody eats food, but not everybody eats the same food. So you have niche in different diets within the umbrella of consuming food, right? You got people who are on a carnivore diet, right? You got people who are vegans, right? So those are now niches and sub niches within a genre or an industry or an idea, right? So you got food, you got the concept of eating food, you got diets, the concept of eating certain foods, and then within those you got specific diets and things like that, right? So you got genres. So let's, everybody loves food, let's sell food, right? And then we can niche down to let's sell vegan food, right? And then we can niche down even more. Let's sell, a certain style of vegan food. Let's sell all vegan breakfast food, right? So now that's your niche. Your niche and your target audience is vegans who like breakfast food, right? So that's why market research is so important. But self-discovery is important because self-discovery kind of does that market research for us. The reason why we use that self-discovery for our market research is because that will tell us about our target audience and about our consumer and about our market, because we are the target audience, the consumer, and the market, right? When we're doing those, going back to the DIY projects, when we're doing those DIY projects and repurposing this furniture and going to the thrift store and finding the old stuff and turning them into gems, we're doing that, one, because we like to do it and we understand it. We understand what is the need behind it. What is the intention behind that? What is the motivation behind that, right? People, just like me, want nice furniture. Right? You are able to use your skills to turn old furniture into new nice furniture, right? And being able to take something that was $20, repurpose it, make it nice, put your labor in, and then maybe sell it for $200. That is the gap where you capitalize. But, there's no difference between you and the consumer, because the same reason you bought that dresser and repurposed it is the same reason they're looking to buy the dresser from you. They want something nice. You get what I'm saying? They want a nice dresser. So that's how self-discovery helps us with the market research is, if we're in our lane, if we're in something we're familiar with, then we're able to identify who the target audience is and what the niche can be. If I'm somebody who likes sneakers, then I can understand that my target audience may be somebody just like me, right? Somebody who likes sneakers, somebody who's maybe 18 to 25 years old, right? Somebody who wears this style, right? It may be somebody who listens to maybe the same type of music in me, that's within the same type of culture as me, because obviously we're all here with these things, right? I'm buying Jordans, you're buying Jordans, right? Either you like hip hop and you like the fashion, the style that we dress in this culture over here, or you're buying them because you like basketball and you like Michael Jordan, or you're buying them because you hoop and you heard these are some good shoes to hoop in, right? So, there's only going to be a certain lower realm. It's all a niche. It's all a target audience. They all got similarities, right? If somebody's wearing Jordans, then it's probably going to be for one of those reasons. Whether they're in a certain culture, in a certain subgroup, where that's what they wear, they play basketball, they're a fan of Michael Jordan, there's only going to be a certain few reasons. So that's why we do that market research, to find out, okay, who is the people that buy these things, right? Am I going to be outside of a heavy metal concert trying to sell my Jordans to people? Right? Or am I going to be outside of a heavy metal concert trying to sell leather boots with silver straps on them? Again, just understanding who is the target audience. And when we understand our product and our service and, our interest and passion, that helps us understand our target audience as well. Right? If I'm making video game videos or doing Let's Plays on YouTube, because I enjoy video games. Well, who could be my target audience? Well, maybe other people that play Overwatch as well. Maybe other people 18 to 25 that play Overwatch as well would be my target audience. Right? And that makes sense because I understand that. Why am I able to understand that? Because that's me. I am, I'm here as well. Right? Your target audience isn't always going to be exactly like you. But you do have to do the market research to understand and try to brainstorm who is your target audience, what niche is it, you know what I mean? Who are these people, and why are they buying whatever it is that I'm selling or whatever it is that I'm offering? And ask yourself as well, who are the people like me doing, what type of people are doing the same things I'm doing? And that'll give you some insights as well. But yeah, once you have the product and once you have, or the service, you'll be able to further do the market research step, right? And this is also a step where you're going to start wanting to analyze your competition. This is going to be a huge one. If you can start scoping out what the competition is doing, what they're doing right, where they're having success, and where they may be lacking, that's where you can start to build, again, another advantage in the business world. It can give you another competitive advantage, understanding what the competitors are doing, right? And seeing what they're at. Just because somebody is a competitor, or just because, there's an imposing team, doesn't mean they're a threat, right? Just because you have other people that you're competing against doesn't mean they're a threat. If it's a race and you can run 11 miles per hour and everybody else runs 2 miles per hour, and you're racing against 50 people, you don't have to be stressed that you're racing against 50 people, because they're not really real competition, right? They can run, sure, but you can run 11 miles per hour. They can only run 5, right? It's not real competition. So, again, going back to that saturation thing, don't be scared. Don't be afraid of competitors. Don't look at a field and say, oh, it's so saturated, because as long as you can always find something that they're doing wrong and a way for you to do it better, you can create a competitive advantage. That is the thing with capitalism, whether you a fan of it or not, you can create or discover your own competitive advantage, right? And that's all it is. As long as we're operating within the laws and everybody has a fair chance at this, then that's what capitalism is, pretty much. Everybody has a fair chance to figure out if they have a competitive advantage, right? And then using that advantage they have. So that's analyzing competitors, man. And that's the biggest part about chapter 3. So now we're going to get into the idea generation part. We're really going to look at, what can we offer to people? What product can we offer to people, or what service can we offer to people, right? And that's really essentially what business is all about, is solving problems. Every time somebody buys a product, they're buying a product because it solves some type of problem. Every time somebody buys a service, it's because it solves some type of problem for the consumer, right? So that's all business is now when we're thinking about what we can buy or what we can sell, what we can sell or what service we can offer to people, we got to think about, okay, what problem are we solving for these people, right? The last step we looked at, okay, who are the people? Now this step is, what problem can we solve for these people? What can we offer these people in return for compensation, right? So, for example, I'm a dude, right? I got a project at the crib. I need some tools and I need some supplies to get it done. So I go to Home Depot. Home Depot has the tools and Home Depot has the supplies. They're bridging that gap for me, right? They're solving that solution for me. My problem is I don't have the tools and I don't have the supplies. They have the tools and they have the supplies. We can meet in the middle. I'm okay with saying, all right, cool, I'll give you some money for it, the tools and the supplies. And they're willing to say, all right, cool, I'll give you the tools and supplies, but you got to give me some money. And boom, that's business, right? Problem, solution, right? So that's all we got to figure out. Now, once we understand, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what, the value I can offer. These are the solutions I can offer. Now we got to go and find problems to either find solutions for them or find problems for the solutions that we have, vice versa. You guys get the point. We're trying to solve a problem here. So we got to identify the problems, right? So again, when you're starting with a good, if you're offering a good, it could be something you create, a good is a physical object, right? So if I'm selling food, if I'm selling clothes, right? Something, physical things like that. Those are all something, once I sell it, it's from my possession to yours, right? It's a good. And services are, of course, things that are services. So things like haircuts. I mean, when you go to a restaurant and you got a waiter, they're providing a service, right? Things like that, right? So here I have a list of things, of different services, and goods that people can sell. One of the smaller, it's all about spotting a problem and then having a solution, right? So even something small, like I started out reselling. I started out reselling clothes I had around the house. Then I went on to clothes, shoes, designer stuff. Then I went on to phones and electronics and stuff like that. But this was all stuff I was already interested in. The problem was, and again, it's all just problem. Even when you're the business, you may have a problem. And business may be the solution for the problem. So for example, my problem was, I had some clothes laying around, whatever the case may be, and I needed some money. So my solution was trying to sell those clothes, right? I took all the clothes I had, bunch of different stuff, sold it in a lot, meaning I sold it as one listing, maybe 20 or 30 shirts. Here's all 20 or 30 shirts. You guys can take these for 90 or 160 or whatever the case may be, right? Somebody else's problem was, they need some clothes. They need them for cheap, and they're okay with it being secondhand, right? They just want it for a good price, right? And maybe another problem they might have even had was they might not have felt like going out and shopping for each of those individual pieces, right? They might not have had the time or the energy or the skills to be able to go and pick out these nice shirts one by one, right? So they saw my listing as a solution to their problem. Not only did my solution help them find affordable clothing, but it also helped them solve the problem of, spending time shopping, going through multiple listings, checking out multiple shirts, finding and trying multiple shirts, finding styles they like in their size, right? My post, by simply doing that, cut out all of those things, right? So that's, problem and solution, right? I might not have found that same success if I were to try to sell those shirts one by one. But because there was somebody out there with the problem of needing to buy 30 shirts conveniently, quickly, and at once, I was able to bridge that gap, and we were both able to come out happy, right? I was able to get rid of 30 shirts in one sale, and that person was able to pick up 30 shirts at a great price, in a condition that was great for them, right? So it's all about providing solutions for the problems, bro. So, and again, I still had the same idea to sell a shirt. The only modification I made to this idea was selling it in a lot and selling all 30 of them at once, right? Again, that could be the determining factor between my success. If I would have had all 30 of those shirts listed individually and they never sold, or it took 4 or 5 years for them to sell one by one, I might have been looking at this like, dang, this is something that doesn't work. But again, it's all about the approach we take and changing the approach and trying out different approaches when things aren't working. But that's something else completely we're going to get it. That's a whole different course, right? It's really navigating business, right? But these are just some ideas, that are very valuable services and products that we can offer to people. Things like an e-commerce store, right? So it's whether if you're selling niche products or you're selling handmade products, you could be reselling products, right? You could be buying products for a low price. Maybe you find them somewhere cheap. Maybe you're in Gabe's and you see something that's discounted, right? But they're selling for, they're selling in Nevada maybe for 3 times the price. So you take them, you buy them from your local store and you sell them in Nevada, right? Problem solution. Nevada doesn't have access to this great deal like you do, right? Opportunity. It was a strength. It was an opportunity that you're located in a place that has this deal right now in this item, right? It was an opportunity that you came to in front of a listing for an item that's $200 cheaper than it usually is, right? That leads to the opportunity for you to say, okay, I'll buy it from here, post it online, and expose it to people who maybe they don't have that same opportunity to this good deal that I have. But maybe even if I post it for $150 more, right, and still give them $50 worth of savings, they'll see that as an opportunity. And they'll see that as a solution to their problem. Oh, they haven't been able to find this for a deal all year. And boom, business, right? So even something like reselling, again, you don't have to, it doesn't necessarily have to be one of your handmade products. It doesn't necessarily have to be a product that you engineered, but it could be a niche product, right? Again, you could be at Gabe's. Let's say it's a football on there that's in sale. For whatever reason, it's discounted, whatever. You grab the football, you look it up online, and you see, oh, this may be a collector's items, or it's limited edition, or it's a certain season football, or it's a certain team, whatever. You may see an opportunity within that to capitalize on that, that niche product or whatever it is, simply just by reselling it, taking it, buying it from here and selling it here. So e-commerce and being able to spot opportunities in a good deal, being able to spot something that you can buy for low and sell for a higher price and capitalize on that profit margin in the middle, is a great and easy way to go about it, right? There's a couple challenges that come up with this, but now once you start getting into these business ideas, you're going to run that same SWOT analysis on these business ideas. We're going to look at what good comes from this business plan, right? What good comes from being able to sell online, or we can reach a broad audience, all of these things. And then we look at what challenges come with it as well, right? When we're online, well, now we're exposed to a lot more competition, right? If we just had a storefront or something like that in a shopping center, we're competing with the local competition, but now we're online. So now we got even more, so you'll start, once you have your business idea, run that same SWOT analysis on the business plan, start being able to identify those strengths, those weaknesses, those opportunities, and those threats to that business plan, right? Super important, super mega gem right there, mega key, right? So make sure y'all doing that. But yeah, man, e-commerce, I think it's a great way. It's pretty much my claim to fame. And then once you start doing these things, it also moves into skill development as well, because you'll get better at it, right? When I started doing e-commerce, that got me into things like search engine optimization, which is another super valuable skill, because I started learning, okay, these are the keywords that people type when they're looking for products. So if I can capitalize on these keywords, if I can capitalize on these tags, if I can understand the proper titles and pictures I need for my product to come up first, then that's like essentially advertising, right? It's essentially having a billboard, right? When my things pop up on Google first, or pop up on eBay first, there's importance in that. That's what is helping me get my item sold. So, simply just from doing that and picking up e-commerce and from the things I was already doing and using the products I was already, selling the products I'm already using, I was able to build even more marketable, valuable skills like search engine optimization, understanding how to rank these posts, understanding how to essentially create your own advertising and marketing campaign by using certain words to get your products viewed, right? So it's a huge snowball effect, and it's going to keep going as long as you guys are heading in the right direction and consistently running this SWOT analysis, right? But again, so that was my claim to fame, the e-commerce. I think it's a great place to start for everybody. You don't have to produce your own products. You can resell, you can repurpose, you can reuse, reduce, recycle, pretty much. Like, it's cool. And you got other ideas. Delivery stuff, all of these different things. Of course, you could come up with your own things or offer your own services, or maybe go into smaller businesses and pitch to them that, oh, I can create some type of delivery service, or I can set up something with you guys where I can drive and help you guys get your products to people at further distances, or people who may be limited and don't have access to your products, right? Even being able to do that, something like that, being able to negotiate and being able to pitch your services and your skills is valuable in itself, right? Because you can then create those opportunities. So constantly running SWOT analysis is going to show you what opportunities are available, right? You might realize, oh, it's a barbershop around the corner. And people at the barbershop, it's a whole bunch of kids. They'll never got no rides there, right? So they can never get to the barbershop on time, or whatever the case. You may be able to offer it. Yo, look, boom, we set up a little shuttle. I go and grab clients from their house. I bring them to the shop. I can increase y'all clientele by 15 more people in the shop per day, because these 15 people who couldn't get here before, now they can get here. Y'all pay me a little extra bread. I make this happen. I can bring y'all more business. Something as small as that can create business for you, right? Something, now you have a service that you're offering. Now you're a shuttle service for the barbershop, right? Bringing in more clients per day, because you're offering value to them. You're offering the opportunity. Okay, this is the opportunity I see. You guys are struggling with this, or this may be somewhere where I can step in. And then you offer to them, well, this guys can get you 15 to 20 more people in the shop per day, right? And that's something they're like, okay, well, this is something I'm willing to pay you in order to get that in return. So again, that's all it's about. And don't stress on this list, because what you may be doing may be completely outside of the box, outside of any of these things. But again, I'm just bringing you out a thought process behind understanding how to put yourself in position, bro. We all have strengths. Everybody people. what logic say? Everybody is unique. Everybody has something to offer the world. That's why I say business is not just financial. It's what can you offer the world? What skills, what values, what abilities and talents can you showcase, right? Because we all have something that we can offer, right? If you're a good salesman, then something like that, being able to pitch that service or that shuttle service to the barbershop is what's going to be able to make you close that deal. Is your talent at being a salesman, is your talent at being able to persuade, right? Your skill of doing that. That's what you naturally gifted at. So again, it's just leveraging those natural talents. Things like remote work, virtual assistants, all of these things, man, all of these things have value, right? If you're somebody who's really organized, you set up a planner, you can set up calendars, you've been doing that all your life, that's valuable to somebody like me, bro. I just told y'all something I struggle with is these executive functions, right? Staying organized, having things planned, having things prioritized, and understanding, oh, these are things I must get done first and stuff like that. Simple things like that, ranking was a struggle to me, right? So if I'm somebody who has a business going and stuff like that, and those are the smaller things that are very difficult for me to manage, I have no problem paying somebody to do those things for me. And that's what I want you guys to understand. That's why it's very important to understand the customer. It's important to understand who you're selling to, because if you were able to identify, okay, I'm good at organizing the calendar and writing a planner because this is something I was able to do all throughout high school. You never had a problem using the calendar. You never had a problem using your planner. You never had a problem keeping your binder organized, right? These are things that you've been doing well all your life, right? And there's somebody on the other side of the coin like me who has struggled with all of those things for all of these years. My binder was never clean. I never used my planner. I never wrote down what homework was, what I had to do. So that led to me forgetting to do the homework and not keeping track of any of this. Now that I'm a business owner, right? Before, all of those things were detrimental to my grades, but I didn't care. Now all of these things are detrimental to my business, and I do care. So if you can come and you can organize my planner, keep my books clean, keep my schedule clean, come and be a virtual, let me know what appointments, I'm willing to pay you for that, right? So these things that you're overlooking, these things like being organized and being cleanly and being somebody who can prioritize and get things done, they are value to somebody. You just got to do the SWOT analysis to determine that those are things that you are good at, and do the SWOT analysis to determine, and market research to determine there's somebody that is willing to pay you for those services, right? And it's going to get repetitive at this point because it's going to be me saying the same thing from here on out. Content creation, the same thing. For the people who are on Instagram, for the people who are making these, for the people who are on Instagram, for the people who are on TikTok making this amazing content, right? Doing all of these walkthroughs and stuff. If it's not blowing up on your profile, or if you don't have the necessary marketing and the necessary SEO and tactics to get that content to pop, that doesn't mean that's content creation is still not a skill you have. Writing is not a skill you have. Graphic designing and video production is not a skill you have. These are still skills. They just may not be working for you. These can be marketed to other people, right? You may have a company that's already getting the traffic. They just need you to come and make the content now, right? You're doing it backwards. You're making the content and then hoping there's traffic for it, right? Hoping you can grow your own audience. Why not market your skills to somebody who already has the audience, get paid, and then use that money and use the experience and use the skill development from that to then go and fund your own content creation, right? So again, we're getting paid from what we're good at, but it's not the route we thought it was. It's not, I'm gonna make YouTube videos, I'm gonna blow up on TikTok, I'm gonna get paid. It's, I'm gonna make content for a business, they're posting on their TikTok, they're paying me, then I'm putting this money back into my production, My production gets better. I post my own content, then I blow up, then I get paid for my content. Right? It's not a straight line. Business is never going to be a straight line, but we're going where we got to go. We're getting in where we fit in to achieve the things we're trying to achieve. Right? So boom, that's another way to look at it. Then you got online coaching and tutoring. Again, pretty much like what I'm doing right now. You know, I'm not a billionaire or anything like that, but I have done pretty well in business, and I have things and insights to offer to people who are looking to do the same thing. Right? So it's, again, I could be in the dirt. Oh, I'm no Elon Musk. Who am I to give? I mean, who am I? Nobody's going to care. No, but I do have success in this field, and I have something to show for it. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, being able, it's nothing for me to pass on this knowledge and pass on all the things that I've learned up until the point I am now to somebody who's seeking it and to somebody who's looking for that information, right? You may have a bunch of knowledge about something, and those are one of the easiest things because knowledge is super, super powerful. People will pay for school. People will pay for books because they want to learn. They're in a pursuit for knowledge, bro. So if you got something, if you're an expert in something, do that SWOT analysis, identify that, like, damn, I'm really good at this, right? I have really good expertise in this field. And then find a way, you know, you can pass that on, you can help people, and you can monetize that. Social media management, same thing. Again, if you run an account, if you already on social media all day, if you on social media from 1 to 11, you know what I mean? Be a social media manager. Market that, right? If you're already creating content, you're already scheduling posts, you're already posting, you're already interacting with people in the comments, go and market those skills and put those skills where they need to be. Put those skills where they're being looked for, right? Market yourself. Get out there. Constantly build those high value skills, or constantly turn them into a service, right? You can create your own business by doing this. And to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to have your own infrastructure. You can offer these services to businesses, right? So if I go and I become a social media manager or offer my services as a social media manager to a business, I'm still technically having a business because, I mean, my business is offering my services for your business, right? So it's still not like, oh, I'm going to be an employee for them. You're still offering, sir. You're still running a business, man. Drop shipping. That's another great one, of course, right? But that's all, you know, that's the same as like e-commerce for me, you know, selling. You still got to understand the customer, understand what it is they want and what problems they're trying to solve for you to, you know, supply products and stuff like that for them. Subscription boxes, all of these different things, man. Again, all of these things are problems that people are looking to solve, right? Subscription boxes. What did HelloFresh do? What is the problem? People are looking to cook fresh food every day. You know, they can't go out and shop. They don't have a whole bunch of experience cooking, so they need things that are easy, and they don't have a whole bunch of time, so they need things that are quick. And HelloFresh came and solved all of those problems by cutting out the grocery store, cutting out shopping, cutting out preparation. Everything's portioned, right? They cut out so many things. They solved so many problems for the customer, and that's the reason why people are willing to pay them money every single month, right? And that's just food. Imagine if it was makeup, right? Look at how much we consume and use makeup. It needs to keep coming every, you know, I don't know how frequently makeup gets used, but whenever it runs out, it needs to be there again, right? We can offer something like a subscription, right? You know, are you sick and tired? Run the SWOT analysis. What problems were you facing? I keep running out of makeup. I wish I didn't keep running out of makeup. I wish whenever I needed makeup, it could be right there in my mailbox, right? And then go and make that solution for the other people that had that problem. Home improvement and renovations. We touched on this one, right? With the, thrifting and finding old furniture, repurposing old furniture, making it nice, arts and crafts. Again, problem solution. People might want something nice, but they might want it for cheap. If you can go and find some furniture for really cheap, make it really nice, and then, give people a really good deal on it so they can find nice furniture for a low price, boom, you got a business, right? Tech repair and support. Simple. If you want computers, if you're doing your thing, you can fix screens, you can fix whatever. That's the service that can be offered. Problem solution. Simple. Yoga, meditation, coaching, personal trainer, problem solution, right? You got the expertise, you need problem solution. Meal prep and delivery. You know how to cook. They don't know how to cook. Problem. You know how to cook, solution. You did it. delivery. You brought it right to them. They didn't have to go to the store. They didn't have to come to you. Nothing. Meal prep. They need nutritious food. They don't have the time to go and cook meal. Boom, it's already done. It's already prepped. It's already ready. Problem solution. That's all business is, bro. That's all business is. So I just want to scroll through this list. Again, I don't want to get too much, get too repetitive, because what it is doesn't necessarily matter. What it is specifically you're doing does not matter. Just understand there's problems all around us, and you guys are very talented, and y'all have the skills to provide some of the solutions to these problems. You just got to get creative, right? You just got to get creative when it comes to identifying that you guys have the solution to these problems, and then finding out ways for you to provide the solutions, right? And this will get us, this is all the information we need to get us up off the ground and running. But this is what I want you guys to really just look at and just continue to think, okay, what problems are around me? What skills do I have that can help me solve solutions or provide solutions to these problems? And y'all gonna be straight. So yeah, man, once you guys have brainstormed, came up with some ideas, narrowed down your options, chose your niche, chose your lane, it's really going to come down to, building your brand, setting up your presence, whether it is, and this doesn't have to be complicated, right? Building your brand. I didn't want to really include this part because it starts to sound like it's complicating the extra. I mean, whatever you're operating as, if you want to operate as your Instagram handle or your Twitter handle or your TikTok username, then just operate as that, right? Whatever it is, it's set up. This is what people are going to identify you as. For this course, it's TX Rose course, Brothers of Business. Just put a name to it, right? It doesn't have to be extra for now. It's just a side hustle. We will transition this into a business. We just got to get our feet in the game. We got to get some skin in the game, and then see how all of this is running, right? How all of this works. So when you're building your brand, don't trip too much about it. These are all things that can be refined. These are all things that can be changed. These are all things that can be tried and tested, as time goes on. Right. So for now, again, if it's just something you want to start and go get a quick little logo, maybe use Midjourney or AI, or maybe have somebody make you a logo, or if you're artistic, make a logo, or a graphic designer, make a logo yourself, whatever the case may be, come up with a name. In my case, I didn't even need a logo, right? I just made my profile picture on eBay when I first started, a little video game picture, right? And so I made an eBay name and came up with a little picture. Right, and that goes into setting up your online presence. Now, once you have whatever it is, whether you have an item or a service, you're gonna have to, start coming up with a plan to market it and to get it out there. And I believe that's on this list as well, the marketing and the promotion. But that a lot of times in today's day and age, that's gonna come from setting up your online presence, right? So if it's setting up a website or a blog, a lot of the times it's a page, right? We have the power of these huge platforms that already have the people there. We don't have to go and create a website and then try to attract people. We can go to Instagram, TikTok, these places that already have this huge audience there, and then try to establish our presence, right? So we can make a new Instagram, we can make a new TikTok, right? We can, start building an email list through those platforms and the places where people already are, right? So that's going to help us a lot. And then figure out pretty much how you're going to price stuff, how you're going to monetize stuff. Again, that was, another huge part into the idea generation, is what value do I have to offer? Like, what is the part people will pay me for, right? If it's providing a service, if you're good at braiding hair, then people will pay you for the braiding hair, right? That's what you're good at. I'm good at braiding hair. Where can people pay me in that skill? Well, they can pay you to braid their hair because you're good at that. They can pay you for that, right? So that's finding that is important as well, right? Knowing what you can monetize and then putting a price to it. Finding your price and stuff like that is going to all come from market research as well. You can, who else is braiding in my area? How much are they charging? Right. And then you can develop a strategy based on that. Do you want to undercut them? Do you want to try to charge more than them and then market a premium service, that your service is more premium and more luxury than theirs? Right. It's going to give you a strategy. So that's what you do that. And then as you keep getting bigger, of course, the legal and financial considerations, make sure you're not doing nothing illegal. Taxes is huge. Taxes is, this is not something that we're going to touch too much in this course. This is something you can consult with me about as we get into, the intricacies of business, right? Funding, getting money for business, finding partnerships for business, finding investors, taxes, tax strategies, accounting. All of those things are the things that you guys can touch base with me on outside of this course, right? But these are very important things. Of course, make sure whatever you're trying to do is legal, right? Make sure you're consulting with whoever you got to consult about that. Operate within common sense, of course. Don't decide that you're going to go, sell illegal items. Make sure you're structured good, you're nice and clean. Make sure you're doing a bit basic accounting practices. Again, these are going to be skills that you're going to either have to pick up yourself or that you're going to have to pay somebody else for. Learn how to start tracking expenses, right? Learn how to track expenses and track sales, right? Learn how to use a spreadsheet, right? Learn how to write down, okay, this cost me this much to buy. I sold it for this much. It cost me this much to ship, or it cost me this much to travel there, or it cost me this much gas to deliver, right? Learn how to do those things. And then as we develop and as we advance, things will get a little bit more complicated. Of course, as we go from a sole prop, right, as a one-person business, as we grow and become an LLC or an S Corp, then that's when we start getting into those tax strategies. We start getting into those tax structures, and we start getting into more business structures and more having to register our business and things like that. Again, y'all can touch base with me in a more advanced lane. This is just for coming up with a business and starting a business in 2024, right? But this is what it's going to all transition to. It does get this major. It does go to this level, right? It's setting up your business structure actually, and then really turning your hobbies into a business. Once you have your business structure and once you're registered and you're operating as an actual business and not a side hustle anymore, now you can start to do things like tax write-offs, where you're writing off the necessary expenses for your business. And this is major, because it takes your side hustle, it takes your hobby to the next level. If you're somebody who's making music and you're a recording artist, if you're now operating within an LLC, if you're now operating within a business or within the stance of a record label, those expenses that come behind a record label are now taxable expenses, right? So things like recording time, going to the studio, equipment, marketing, right? Promotions, popping out outfits for performances and stuff like that. Those are now taxable expenses. And even though it's a passion and it started as a hobby for you, you're now operating legally as a business entity. And those are all real expenses for you, right? So this is advanced stuff, but that's the key, is to take your side hustle, take your hobbies and your interests, turn it into a business so you can really turn all the way up. Right now you're going from, I'm making makeup tutorials with a ring light, to now, my business is structured in a place where now I can go get some business credit and I can go get real movie production lights. Yeah, you could go get top-notch makeup or whatever. If you're doing makeup tutorials, you can get the best brands and all of this, because now these are expenses. So yes, these are all things that you love to have, and it's cool. You can go get the best makeup to review. Yeah, you enjoy that because this is what you already like, but it's also for business. So that's how you really turn up your hobby to the next level once you're really operating with the business structure. But that's something we're going to touch on. Yeah, on another time. Y'all can email me. Y'all can hit me up on Instagram, and I'll set up something for us to like one-on-one as far as some type of paid consultation, because that's getting super deep. But for now, that's the framework we're working with for this, right? But it's going to be definitely important to, do something small, like set up an eBay, set up a Depop, right? If you're reselling, set up a Shopify store, right? Getting that online presence set up is huge, especially in this day and age. You got to have some type of presence online. And then your product and your service development, whatever product you're offering, you're going to get feedback on it. You're going to find out what products are good, what products are bad, what people like, what people don't like, how you can improve or adjust your service. If you're cutting hair, do people like the type of clippers you're using? Do they like the type of finish and touches you putting on? When you hit them with the alcohol and wipe them down at the end, would they rather prefer some type of, you're going to get feedback based on those things. So product and service development is going to happen over time as well. Your marketing plan, of course, you're going to have to get into these things as well. Again, all of these things come slowly, but you do have to have a plan when you're starting out, right? You don't want to start a business and have no idea how you're going to market it at all. If you're going to start a business, let's say I'm going to start cutting grass. I'm going to go, your marketing plan may be, all right, when I start off, I'm going to walk around the neighborhood with the lawnmower, go door to door, ask people if they need their grass cut, right? That's a marketing plan. But of course, you have no service to sell if you didn't even have that plan of going door to door to offer your lawn care services, right? So develop some type of marketing strategy. Again, you might not have $1 million to put up for advertising, but develop something. I'm going to market. I'm going to use Instagram to market. I'm going to use TikTok to grow my audience and drive that traffic to my website, right? I'm going to use keywords, or I'm going to use search engine optimization on eBay so that my listings can rank higher, right? Have some type of strategy. And again, run that SWOT analysis. Be open to considering all of these things. And then of course, you got some other factors that may or may not determine, be involved in what you're doing. Sales and customer service. Not every industry is gonna have to provide a level of customer service, right? Some things are gonna get taken care of by other people depending on what your business structure is. But that is something you're gonna have to look out for, right? Handling customer feedback, being open to that, right? We're now operating in the business world. People can spend money on something and they can critique you, right? You got to be open to that. You can't look at it as a slap in the face or look at it as somebody disrespecting you, because we're operating in the business world now. We're not operating in regular life or in the streets or whatever rules y'all coming from that y'all trying to apply. This is business now, right? So be ready for that and put care and put emphasis on that customer service if you guys do have that aspect, because that is a whole nother aspect. We can have a great product, we can have a great service, we can have great intentions, but if we aren't taking care of the customer properly and making sure that their problem is solved in the best way possible, in the most efficient way possible, in the most convenient way possible for them, then none of it's going to matter as far as return business. And then we can get into, all of the rest of the stuff, man, as far as time management, scaling. Once you're rolling, you'll identify how we can grow. You'll identify what tasks and what jobs can be, what is the word I'm looking for? Delegated to other people, right? So now maybe things like, let's say I'm reselling on eBay and, I've been going and taking pictures and posting listings all of this time, right? Once I'm big enough and once I'm making money, now maybe I can go and hire somebody for $20 an hour to take pictures and to make postings and listings all day so that we can grow as a company, right? So now that I don't have to focus on doing that, I can focus on what the next step is. What other products can we introduce into our business so that we can sell them even more? What other, blogs can we create? What other content avenues can we create so that our products are exposed to a bigger audience, right? Instead of me having to worry about, I have to take pictures and make listings all day, I'm able to delegate that, compensate somebody a fair amount for them to go handle that work, and then put the brains of the operation back at the front, figuring out how we can grow this into something even bigger, right? So once you get to that point in time, you'll start looking for those things, right? You'll hire assistants, you'll outsource, you'll find ways to automate the repetitive tasks. These tasks are repetitive, but they must be done to operate, right? And once you start scaling, that's when you start taking your side hustle to a business, right? When you find yourself start scaling, that's when you want to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get these business structure and these regulations in place. Make sure I at least got an LLC and all of these things, so you can go to the next level, right? If you started off selling plates, cool. But the second where selling plates turns into, I need somebody in the kitchen helping me now, and then, I might need a delivery driver, you're going to want to make sure you got everything set up. You're going to want to make sure you got your, all your food safety certificates and all of those things in place. You're going to want to make sure you got, you're operating within the law and you're doing things that you're able to do. You're going to want to make sure you got the LLC or S Corp or whatever way you're going to choose to operate and set up your business entity. You're going to have to make sure those things are in place. And again, these are all things that I can help people with, especially if we're setting up LLCs in the state of Maryland. I can help out with that, but that'd be something, again, we work out on the side for some type of one-on-one consultation in that realm, right? But the moment you take your side hustle and you have to start hiring and you got to start scaling and you're really looking to go big, that's when it turns into a business. right? And then we'll start to look at all of the other beautiful things that come with business, right? Like burnout, finding that healthy balance in life so you're not chasing money all the time, and then using business to achieve our goals, like getting out of a job, right? And then once we're out of a job, using the freedom that business gives us to really create the lifestyle that we want, right? For me, it messed me up, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I've been out of work for I think a year now, of coming up on a full year. I've been out of work, and it's really been a struggle for me to find a routine because I have freedom, so much freedom now, and to stay level headed and not try to just go crazy when it comes to things, right? There's a lot of new circumstances. I met with a lot more money. I met with a lot more free time. I met with a lot of things that I didn't have. I'm new to this life, right? I've been broke way longer than I've been up, right? I've been in a job slaving way longer than I've been a free man, right? So it comes with a whole new set of challenges. But this is these are gonna be the first steps that take y'all from 0, to 99, and the rest we can figure out along the way. But this is really a course I wanted to put in place to really help you guys and frame the thinking, really help you guys create a mindset in which you're constantly looking for opportunities to take advantage of, because that's what capitalism is really all about, is constantly finding those opportunities we can take advantage of, right? And constantly being able to solve those problems, meet those problems with solutions. If I'm Jeff Bezos and I'm hiring for Amazon, $20 an hour, right? The problem for you is you're messed up in the game and you need a job. $20 an hour is okay with you. It'll help you out. It may not pay all the bills, and it may not even be enough for you to have a roof over your head, but it's something, right? So you'll take that job because it'll help you solve that problem, or at least partially solve that problem, right? Of needing income, right? Jeff Bezos is like, okay, I need employees. If you'll do it for 20 an hour, it's a win for me. It's a win for you. Let's make it happen. And that's capitalism. But just that thinking and that rationale and that being able to identify those things is what's going to really help people excel in business. So again, take your interests, take your strengths, take the things you're good at, and really use those to your advantage, man. Use those to find out what you have to offer to people, what you have to offer to the world, and what you have to offer to these customers, man. Once you figure out your strengths and your weaknesses, find out who it is good for. Find out who it is good for, bro. You can't go and be in a community of poverty and try to sell them $100 product or $100 service or stuff like that. It's not going to the right. This is not the customer. This is not the person that's willing to give you the money, right? It's not the person willing to give you the money. If you're an image consultant and you dress people up, you give them makeovers, you put them in suits, right? Going somewhere like New York and chilling on a block with people that's rocking streetwear, they're not going to buy your service. They don't want your makeover. They don't want to wear a suit, right? You got to make sure you're in the right crowd of people here. So that's important, man. That's all it is, man. Once you understand the things you're good at, the audience around it, once you understand yourself and once you understand the challenges you're going to have to face, you can really excel and you can really figure out how you're going to, create a business, what business is good for you, and how you're going to excel and take it to the next level. Well, thanks to everybody for tuning in, man. Make sure y'all hit me up on Instagram, reach out via email, whatever it is, leave a comment down below. Whatever it is you got to do, leave any questions or any of that in the comments. Send me any questions, reach out. I'm going to try my best to answer any questions or anything you guys still need to be filled in on. Hopefully you guys can take this and run with this. There's a lot of insightful information packed into this. And then if you guys are interested in those one-on-one consultations, hit me up. We can work something out. I can talk to you guys about building credit if that's something you guys are interested in. When it pertains to business, especially, that's personal credit, but especially business credit is what I really excel in, what I can really touch on as far as getting funding for these businesses. Once we transition from side hustles to businesses, and we transition into looking for more funding, more capitalization for our business, how can we get more money to run this? We can talk about building that business credit, building those relationships with the banks, and where to go and how to get that done, right? And then really just continuous continuing to talk about strategies of how we can adapt, what other mindsets we have, what other strategies and what other approaches and tactics we got to use when we navigate in the business world. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Again, really appreciate y'all tuning into this. And I'm proud of everybody that came and tuned into this and stuck to the end, because that shows y'all really y'all really trying to make a change, bro. And I think that this year is going to be one where we can really start laying a great foundation for the future. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.